Thanks, everybody. Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Ricky Camilleri, and our next guest is, without a doubt, one of the funniest people in the world. Whether it's as a strict dog trainer in Christopher Guest's classic Best in Show, as Coach Sue Sylvester on Glee, or hosting a group of celebs for Game Night on Hollywood Game Night, Jane Lynch is an American treasure. Fortunately for the world, Game Night returns this Thursday night at 9 p.m. on NBC, so let's take a look.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it? All right.
It's so intense.
Next up, we adore him as the wryly ambitious Mateo on Superstore, and we fell in love with him as the stealthy stylist in the breakout blockbuster Crazy Rich Asians. It's the charming and dapper Nico Santos. Look at you. You've really picked up stuff from your stylist gig.
Thank you.
Now, over here, you know him from Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, and also The Good Place, the debonair and droll Mark Evan Jackson. Up here, pal. All right. Your category for this bowl is Rainy Days and Mondays.
Okay.
Rainy days and Mondays.
And go.
Okay, if it's raining, I put this up.
Umbrella, yes, push that bowl.
This is kind of a sweater, but it has buttons.
That's right.
A cardigan.
Here you go.
Okay, on the car, on the front.
Windshield wipers.
That is correct, Darcy Gordon.
Lord. Oh, my God. This is a movie with Jackie Chan.
Rush Hour.
Yes.
Yes, rush hour. Push that bowl.
Okay, to get clean, I go in the bathroom.
Shower.
Shower.
Okay. Okay, this is you watch films.
Weather. TV.
You watch
film.
films.
Movie theater. You got Clue Boom. Team Blue, 3 points.
Everybody, please put your hands together for the wonderful Jane Lynch. Hi. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here.
Congratulations on another season of Game Night. That's amazing. Did you ever expect when you signed up to do this that you would just get to keep doing it?
No, it's this is our 6th season, and when I was first asked to do it, it was 6 episodes, and that was going to be it, and then it just kept going. It's been fantastic.
You know, when you first started becoming an actor, did you ever think that you would also become a host? Were you hosting at all? Like,
No, that was never anything. In fact, as it was kind of happening to me, I was offered 2 game shows in like the same month, and it's not something I'd ever wanted to do. So when Sean Hayes is the executive producer and the creator of this particular game show, and he's a friend, so when he asked me to do it, I was like, yeah, sure, why not? 6 to air, that's pretty good.
did you ask them why me? What did you think? I mean, you're incredible at it. You're so.
Well, thank you. I didn't ask why me. I just was like, hey, it's a job. I'd love to do it.
I like when actors are honest that way. I love a job.
It's a job, yeah.
I like to work.
Yeah, I jump up and down for every job that I get. It's not like I sit around and decide I'll do this or I'll do that. Maybe a little more now these days, but for the most part, if you invite me to the party, I'm coming.
Oh, well, I've got a party this. Maybe you want to come? No, just kidding. You know, you are not just an actress; you're an improviser, and you know, you became very well known through your improvised films with Christopher Guest. Have you found that has sort of helped with hosting the show? That you have to use those?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's an ability to stay very present when you improvise. You stay very present, and you allow, and you work from, I think, almost a more organic place. You know, you're very much present, and I know what my role is, and I know that I need to let things just happen sometimes, and other times I need to, you know, herd the cats and bring them, you know, and tell them what the rules are. But I think that's the key to it is just reacting in the moment, and kind of like throwing a party too. You know, when you throw a party and you invite certain people and you hope that they all get along, and if you, or you know, they'll meet people and make friends, just so they'll have a good time, and so you set up the atmosphere so that can happen.
And recognizing who plays off of each other and who's not vibing.
Yeah, well, you know, you just, if you set it up, and everybody can be relaxed and have good food, good drink, and play some fun games, then there's no way it won't be a success.
When did you find that you were the type of actor who was so good at being in the moment, who was so good at coming up with things off the cuff and improvising? When did that start to be a tool that you recognized?
Well, pretty early on. I always do better when I don't think too much. I always do better when I rehearse, I know my lines, and I learned this when I was auditioning because I used to love to audition. I don't anymore, but I used to love to audition because I would make it into a complete piece. I would make it a performance that had a beginning, middle, and an end. And even if it wasn't in that little bit of dialogue that I was doing with the casting director, I would impose some structure on it. And then once I do that, I let it go.
Isn't that what they tell actors too? Like if you're not actually acting or you're not getting jobs, use the auditions so that you can actually do your work.
Yeah, absolutely. I made them performances. And so even if I didn't get the role, people would say, thank you, I appreciated that you came in here and did your best with that material. And we got to see our writing actualized, even though you're absolutely wrong for this part. Thank you so much.
It's so funny because I happened to just a couple weeks ago watch The Fugitive, which you are in, and it's such an interesting experience watching you play this character that is not a Jane Lynch character, if you will, because so many people write for you now and sort of love this amazing thing that you can do. What was it like at that point as an actor? Did you have an idea of what your thing was or what you were good at as an actor?
No, not really. And I didn't audition for that either. That kind of just came out of the blue. I was living in Chicago as an actor.
It's a big part.
It's a pretty big part.
Yeah.
And it just turns out the director had an assistant who had seen me play Carol Brady in the real live Brady Bunch, and for some reason thought that would make me right for this part. And
the real live Brady Bunch?
Yeah, we did actual episodes of the Brady Bunch. Look, you're so young, you don't even remember.
No, I know what the Brady Bunch is,
but we did actual episodes of the Brady Bunch on stage, and we did it at the Village Gate. We did it at the Westwood Playhouse. It was the kind of thing of the early 90s. So that's why I'm saying you're so young.
Televised or just live
No,
on
it was
stage?
on stage. It was live, and it was crazy, and it was drunken, and it was kind of a
okay,
precursor to Hollywood Game Night in terms of the spirit. And Andy Richter played my husband. Jill Soloway was our director. It was a lot of Chicago people.
When you said drunken, it started to make sense for me because my brain was just going, a live show of the Brady Bunch? Why would someone? But now it makes much more sense.
We were all adults playing children. I played Carol Brady. But one of the assistants of the director for The Fugitive, which shot in Chicago, saw me and for some reason thought that I would be good at this part based on that Carol Brady performance. And that's how I got it. So I kind of went in there. I didn't have like a thing or shtick. I just played it as real as I could. And Harrison Ford was so very nice to me. And our scene, he didn't like the way our scene was written. So he grabbed me, and it was raining out, and we were under his umbrella, and we went to his trailer. He said, we're going to rewrite this scene, just you and I. And so we kind of came up with the scene there. We came up with the dialogue there. And so that was my first, and it kind of affirmed to me that if you know what the scene is about and you know what you're bringing to it and you know where your emotion is and you know what your desires are in this scene, you can do it. You can rewrite it if you need to, and we did.
Did it also affirm to you that there kind of are no experts and it's always a living, breathing thing,
absolutely,
the whole process?
Absolutely.
Because for so many people, I think, who are not involved in movies or want to be involved in movies, you just see it as the finished product.
Right.
And it just feels like experts put it together and they knew exactly what to do.
It's the whole creative process, which is something you can never pin down. It's like a wave. It's always moving, and then it dissipates. So it's one of those things that you can't put the cart before the horse, to use yet another metaphor. You have to really just be present and in the moment. You can't decide that, I want to get to here. No, you just have to go on the journey. And you show up, you pack heavy, you know who your character is, you find inside yourself what will relate to that character, those desires. We can find anything in ourselves. Right. And you just dig deep and go, I know what that feels like. And so you get that generated, and then, you just let it take off. It's like you open up the stable doors and you let the horse run.
It's so, going back and watching that and watching you play a part that before anyone knew who Jane Lynch was is so interesting as well, because I think there was a certain period of time where I even heard David Wayne say when he was talking about role models, he's like, we were writing the part and we just said, well, let's just write a Jane Lynch part here. It started to be this thing where people just wrote this parts for you that were so specific to you that really only you could play. Did it ever feel like at a certain point that you were missing getting something like The Fugitive, where it would just be totally out of the blue and a completely different kind of person?
Have you seen Criminal Minds?
There we go.
I do a completely different character in that. No, I never I never feel that way. And if someone writes to what they think are my strengths, I think that's just fantastic. I love it. And, I'm very happy to hear that David Wayne said that. I love doing that movie, and I love being Role Models is the movie. And, I had worked with Paul Rudd on The 40-Year-Old Virgin, and so we were shooting that, he was working on that with David. And so he said to me, hey, would you be interested in this? I'm like, absolutely. So.
That was an interesting period of time for your career, I feel like, as
it
well,
was.
right? Where everything started kind of, like you'd always been doing the guest movies, but suddenly you were getting lots of roles here and there.
There was kind of an unofficial comedy ensemble that was happening. There were these ensemble movies, 40-Year-Old Virgin, Role Models, Talladega Nights 3 that I was in. And then that led to Party Down. A lot of the people I met in those movies ended up being the people I worked with in Party Down. And so they were all ensemble driven. And that's my favorite way. I don't ever want to be the only one up there.
Really?
I love bouncing off. I like being part of a whole group. I don't need to be in the middle of it.
Have you ever worked on, developed, or pitched a movie or show where you were the star, or were you always just kind of like, no, I don't want to?
I haven't. No, I haven't. No.
I would love to see the Jane Lynch movie.
Well, I would. If I had any say, I would surround myself with really great people. And it would be an ensemble comedy for sure.
Go into the meetings every day, going, "What if we added another person to this scene?"
Yeah, it's no fun just standing up there by yourself. But look at Seinfeld. I mean, Seinfeld was those three other characters, and that's why it worked so well. Very rarely is somebody up there by themselves with just kind of some peripheral characters, and it succeeds on any level. I don't think.
Yeah, it was very briefly just about him. I think the first episode was, and they're like, "This isn't working. Make everybody else bigger parts."
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure that was the trajectory. Yeah.
So 6 seasons of Game Night. Have you figured out what your favorite game is to play, or what kind of your favorite moment is to get the guests into?
Oh, I love Clue Boom, the game with the confetti and everything, because the noise is so damn loud, and it's shocking. And every time it happens, it shocks me, and it shocks everybody else too. I love doing that one. That's a lot of fun.
In this first episode, I believe Thursday night, it's a Ninja Warrior specific episode. Is that true?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Oh God, I forget who's in it. Help me out here.
Your two hosts.
Oh, Matt Eisman is in it. Yeah.
From
And
American
Akbar.
Ninja Warrior. Are you a fan of American Ninja Warrior?
I've never seen it, but I love
Really?
those two guys because we do a lot of stuff together, being hosts on NBC shows. I've never seen it. No.
I got to tell you, I did not expect to be a fan of that show. It is not my wheelhouse at all.
And you love it?
But I love it.
Oh,
I
good.
watch it regularly, and it's become a thing in our house where we
It's
get
a hard
excited
job
to
for
watch
them,
it.
even though they're not. Sometimes they actually do the courses, but rarely. But they're all over the country. It's a tough gig, but they love it. Yeah. They adore it. So we had Akbar on this first show, and Matt Eisman, and I'm not saying Akbar's last name because I destroy it every time I do. So
I'm leaving that job to you right now.
And then the Good Place. The
right.
cast of The Good Place is on the other couch.
Are you a fan of The Good Place?
I've never seen it, but I love all of the actors on it for sure. I have not seen it. I don't watch a lot of television.
What do you watch
Right now? I haven't watched television probably in like 4 or 5 years.
Good for you.
Just, I watch the news, unfortunately, like MSNBC. It's just a terrible thing. And I'm on Twitter way too much. But I just started, because I wanted to get into this whole Game of Thrones thing. So I've been watching Game of Thrones, and I love it.
Really?
Love it. I'm on season 7. And I started just like 3 months ago. It's disturbing and it's misogynistic. Oh my God, even worse than misogynistic. They're raping women all the time, and they're cutting each other's heads off. It's freaking brutal. But there's something, you get to like 3 episodes in and you just accept it. That you see it as for what it is. It's a particular brutal society.
Yeah.
And the acting is exemplary. And just the writing, the direction, it just blows me away.
Full confession, you're ahead of me on Game of Thrones.
Oh, really? Where are you?
Like 6 episodes into the first season.
Oh, really? What do you think? Obviously, you're not
it
into it.
It didn't grab me.
Okay.
Which was like, it's totally on me. I have no criticisms of the show whatsoever. Like, how could I criticize the show? It's incredibly well made. But fantasy for me is like, you might as well be in a foreign language with no subtitles.
It used to be anyway.
I'm gone.
Yeah, same thing. The first time I watched an episode of Game of Thrones was on a shitty, can I say that on
Yeah, of course. You can say whatever you want.
On a shitty airplane, like a television with terrible sound. sound. So I couldn't understand them because they're speaking British, number one, and through bad headphones. And I was watching heads being, and I couldn't get into it at all, so I, didn't watch it. And that was about 4 or 5 years ago. And then as the final season, the final episode was coming up, and everybody on Twitter was like out of their minds with excitement, I thought, well, I want to get in on this and see what it's all about, Alfie. And I did. And Alfie Allen, one of my favorite actors on that show, I just absolutely love it, and I so appreciate it.
Having or not watching very much TV, do you ever feel bad when your guests come on and you haven't seen their
Seen
shows?
their shows. Yeah, I do feel bad. I get over it pretty quickly. But I was on a television show for 5 years, and I didn't give a crap if you watched my show. That's
Really?
okay. Yeah, it's all right. It's okay. It's cool.
Is this in reference to Glee?
Glee, yeah.
Yeah, but lots of people watch
Oh,
that
lots
show.
of people did, but sometimes someone would say, I'm sorry, I haven't seen your show. I was like, I don't care. That's fine. That's all right.
Do you feel like in some
country,
ways,
right?
I realize that you probably don't want to take responsibility for this in any way, but do you feel like in some ways Glee moved the needle forward in a lot of ways in this country?
It what? Oh,
Moved the needle forward in a lot of ways?
I can say this without feeling like I did it. Yes, I think it did. And like with, especially in terms of having all of these kids in high school, where everybody could relate to at least one of them, including adults, not just kids, and they find their refuge in the choir room, and they raise their voice in song, and it feels so good. And like the hallways of McKinley High are kind of a metaphor for life. They're cruel, and you get the Slurpee in your face, and people throw you up against the lockers. It's just mean, kind of a dog-eat-dog world. And then you get into that choir room, and everybody's got your back, and it's just a wonderful thing. And I think it really, like, I meet kids today, like some of people who are like interns or people like you were in high school back then, and they
Glad
say,
you think I'm so young.
You are so young. And it just thrills me when they say, oh, Glee got me through high school. I just love that. But then, of course, we've now elected Trump, and it's like we've gone back. But I think we've just taken a couple of steps back, and we're going to fly forward.
You're optimistic?
I am optimistic
Yeah.
about it. I feel like there's so much that we feel has been threatened and lost. We feel like we've lost, especially in terms of our institutions and the norms. And I think they're just going to fly right back into place. I think that this was an inspired experiment, this American experiment, and I think it will live.
I'm oddly optimistic too. This weekend, very tangential, excuse me, but this weekend I was at home with my family and I was talking to a neighbor who I've known my whole life, and she was asking me about politics. And she was like, what are we going to do? This is crazy. And I said, well, I've known you for 35 years. You've never talked about politics with me, knowing that I pay attention to the news. And we're sitting here talking about this, and you're worried.
Yeah.
That's a good thing in a lot of ways.
It's a participatory democracy. And when things are kind of status quo, and for generations they've been kind of status quo, you don't do anything. It takes something like this to go, holy cow, we could lose this.
Right.
This is threatened. And I think that enough people have woken up.
And you're actually an advocate right now for the Equality Act, right?
Absolutely.
I saw you tweeting about it just recently.
Yes, indeed. And I did a PSA with HRC. And, it won't pass the Senate because of Mitch McConnell. But did you see the woman who's running against him? Are you guys into politics?
Amy McGrath.
Yeah, she's amazing, right? And she needs to get a little more specific with her message. It's a little vague right now, but she'll get there. She's an amazing woman, and it would be really nice to see her knock him off that perch.
It would be nice to see anybody knock Mitch McConnell off that perch.
Yeah, the
Knock him out of his
perfect,
turtle
horrible
shell.
nightmare storm that has affected our politics with Mitch McConnell and the inactivity of Nancy Pelosi. I don't get it unless there's she's playing four-dimensional chess, and I kind of doubt it.
Right.
I don't know what's going on.
I'm glad that we're on the same page about this. Yeah. She's also someone that I generally feel uncomfortable criticizing often because I see people feel like, well, she's the leader, and it's like, well, she's not doing the best job.
It's screaming for impeachment to begin. Right. Just begin it. And she thinks we'll probably lose the election because the public won't be behind it. No, you start that inquiry. You start the impeachment inquiries. You watch the momentum to get that guy out of office.
It's just inquiries.
Yeah, right now, yeah.
It just brings more out into the fold. Yeah.
I don't know.
Are you an AOC fan?
Yeah. I think I don't think that Pelosi should be criticizing her
Right.
She's criticizing her today. Yeah, I like her. She's
Which is odd because
she's young and she's loud and you know, we need that. We need that. I think that there's I sound like an old lady, but that, you know, we do need that young, loud voice, and it just feels a little unrefined and a little reactive. Everybody's so damn reactive. Even like people who like Jake Tapper, all these people are on Twitter, you know, saying, you know, getting defensive, and it's just crazy. Everybody's so mad.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like if we were less mad and less reactive to Trump, we could actually have productive and positive conversations about how to move forward and what to do.
But it's interesting how thin-skinned most folks are. Yeah. And everybody feels attacked, and everybody feels, you know, it's incumbent upon them to defend themselves. And just shut up. And that is Twitter, you know, and I'm on it all the time. But that's Twitter. It's really brought out the little whiny baby in all of us.
I agree completely.
Do you?
100%.
Good.
Yeah.
Do you agree with us? Thank you.
One person over there on Twitter right now is like, no, I love Twitter. I want to talk about another thing outside of politics and Hollywood Game Night, which is that you are hosting a Prime Day concert that Taylor Swift is headlining,
That's right. Tomorrow. It's live, everybody.
Tomorrow? Unreal.
Yeah. 9 p.m. Eastern, and it will also live on Prime Video on demand. It's a live concert celebrating Prime Day, which is going to be June 15th and 16th, but the concert is tomorrow, the 10th. It starts at 9 p.m. Eastern, and Taylor Swift is performing live. Becky G is performing live. SZA is performing live, and Tyler Oakley is co-hosting with me, and it's going to be just a crazy, wonderful, great feeling event. And notice those are 3 women who are headliners. So it's good. The girl power is just going to be off the charts.
How did this come about? Was this another thing where they asked you to do it and you're like, yeah, sounds good to me?
Absolutely, I'll do it. But you know, I think the connection would be the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which I play a part on that. And I'm on this season. I'm doing the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. We're in the midst of shooting right now, and I'm in almost every episode. So,
are you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm thrilled.
So you're back for almost every episode
almost
of
every
season
episode.
3.
Yes.
Wow. What is it like? Do you love doing Amy Sherman Palladino's dialogue?
Yes, absolutely. I love it. Well, first of all, my character, Sophie Lennon, doesn't have that rapid fire type of thing. She's much more erudite and smug and self-satisfied.
Do you prefer not having that erudite thing?
I did that as Sue Sylvester. Boy, it made my brain melt sometimes. I had so many words to say in one sentence, but I do love it. Do you know I did the Gilmore Girls? I played a guest spot in like 1994, and I played a nurse, and I had a couple of lines in the emergency room, so I have a history now. I don't think she remembers, so.
Did you ever bring it up with her?
I haven't, but I should bring it up with her. I haven't.
Do you find if you bring something like that up with a director, like, hey, we did a commercial like 30 years ago, do you remember? They go,
oh, of course.
Your mark's over here.
Exactly. You know, the good thing about that is that I've been in the business a really long time, and I don't remember who I met yesterday. So I don't remember anybody. I may have, like, we're having this wonderful, intimate moment. 5 minutes from now, I'll be like, nice to meet you.
Yeah. I never assume anybody who walks in there, whether I've interviewed them before.
Did we meet before, too? Have we done this before?
I believe I've interviewed you once at least before.
When you came into the dressing room, I said, hey, good to see you, just in case.
Of course.
Because I don't remember meeting you.
Of course, yeah. Which is what I would totally expect.
Although this feels familiar. Your energy.
We just vibe, Jane. We just vibe.
We do have a great vibe.
Yeah. You guys feel this in the room?
Yeah.
I think we have a couple questions from the audience. What do we got here? Who's got a question? Right here. Hi.
I'm Joan.
Joan.
I love and I support nonprofits. I know that you are like affiliated with so many. I just want to know, what is your inspiration behind it? And like, is there like any nonprofit that's like close to your heart, and like why?
Oh, well, you know, I have this thing about the vulnerable in our society, and that includes children, dogs, old people, disabled people. We're here to take care of them. And there are a lot of terrific charities out there and organizations that provide services. And, you know, I don't go out seeking them, but if they come to me, or if I'm moved by something I hear, I will, you know, I'll give a donation, I'll speak, I'll host your event, I'll speak at your event. I think that anything that helps the more vulnerable members of our society is kind of where I'm a Cancer. My birthday is Sunday. Thank you. And I'm although I am a barren woman, I have the great mother goddess energy flowing through my body, and my DNA kind of dances around protecting the vulnerable.
I have to say, what you just said could have been a line of yours in a Christopher Guest movie.
It's a mighty win for sure.
Right.
My color is indigo blue.
I'm a barren woman, but
actually, I'm feeling a little periwinkle right now.
Next question. Right here.
Yeah. Hi, I'm over here.
Oh, hi.
Hi. I was just curious, in playing Sophie on Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which side of her, like, alter ego is more fun for you to play?
Well, they're both a blast, as you can imagine. If you haven't seen me in this show, you really should. I play the stand-up comic who wears a fat suit, and she's a housewife from Queens, and she makes fun of herself all the time. Like, I'm so fat. How fat are you? And then when she's out of costume, she's this very smug, area. Did you see The Sound of Music? Remember the Baroness? Mm-hmm. She's very much the Baroness, and she fancies herself, an artist. And so both of those are great. I'm basically, well, I can't say anything about this season.
She's
I'll
such
get
an interesting...
slapped across the face. Yeah.
Her smugness comes from the idea, though, that she can't present to the world. The world would never understand her actual art and intelligence, so therefore she has to dumb herself down.
And that's women in comedy in the late 50s, early 60s. I kind of model it after Joan Rivers and Phyllis Diller and Toady Fields. If you don't know who any of those women are, they were stand-up comics who were breaking through this business that was male-dominated and continues to be, but the only way they could get on stage is if they made fun of themselves and how undateable they are, how fat they are, how stupid they are, and how their husbands, think they're a pain in the butt. So that was kind of where she's coming from. And Midge Maisel is very much an observant comic. She's kind of the Lenny Bruce ilk. She says what she sees and doesn't necessarily refer to herself as being like an ugly female. So she's just kind of herself up there. So when I had a scene with her where I say, well, what's your gimmick? She said, I don't have a gimmick. I was like, well, you must have a gimmick if you want to make it in this business. That's right out of Gypsy, too. I don't know if you remember that song, You Gotta Have a Gimmick. I'm a little caffeinated right now.
Jane, I love your work. Please come back anytime. Hollywood Game Night premieres this Thursday night at 9 p.m. on NBC, and tomorrow night at 9 on Prime.
Right, on
People
Prime.
can watch you host a concert with Taylor Swift and SZA and Dua Lipa, and I believe you're co-hosting Becky G and Tyler Oakley as well, right?
Exactly.
Everybody, Jane Lynch, let's hear it.